Hey.
Welterweight main event of the evening for this UFC fight night. Here we go, baby. Wonderboy Thompson versus Kevin Holland. So we have Stephen Thompson, 39 years old, out of Simpsonville, South Carolina. In MMA, he is 16-6-1 with 7 knockouts, 8 decisions. Of course, before MMA, he was like 98-0 in like karate. I don't think that's much of an exaggeration.
No. Yeah, it's not. In kickboxing, I believe, right?
Kickboxing,
Or was it karate? Maybe it was karate. Obviously, he's a karate guy. You might be right.
Yeah, for sure. Thompson's looking to get back into the win column, coming into this weekend with back-to-back losses over against Gilbert Burns and Bilal Muhammad. And he will be standing across from a very, very interesting style and physical size matchup in Kevin Holland. Kevin Trailblazer Holland out of Fort Worth, Texas, 30 years old. He is 23-8 with 1 no contest, 13 knockouts on his record. Add 6 subs to that. He is also looking to get right back in the win column because he matched up with Hamzat Chimaev in what was a sort of a weird late notice reshuffle matchup. People gave him a chance. I gave him a chance, but he got choked out in a little more than 2 minutes, snapping a 2-fight win streak for Kevin Holland. So he's looking to get back into the win column. Omar, let me send it over to you first. Give us your assessment and then your pick of Stephen Thompson versus Kevin Holland.
Stephen Thompson has had some issues as of late, right? He's run into a couple walls, and Bilal Muhammad and Gilbert Burns. The very tippy top of the welterweight division is becoming difficult for him to crack to solidify himself a title shot or anything like that. Kevin Holland is one of those guys where I think we're consistently seeing him evolve, consistently seeing him break expectations that we have for him, and other times kind of falling to those expectations. He's still very intriguing, and he's still very willing to learn and grow. And it's not to say Stephen Thompson isn't, but I think the rate of growth, I think, is just a lot more exponential for Kevin Holland than I think at this point it is for Stephen Thompson. Stephen Thompson's got his game. He knows what it is. He's probably not adding a ton of things to it, maybe sharpening some things up here and there, but Stephen Thompson's game is Stephen Thompson's game. Kevin Holland, he continues to add things to his game. He's still very new to that particular point, I think, in his career. And I think if this was going to be a straight kickboxing match, I think Stephen Thompson takes this one home. But I think Kevin Holland will have enough to at least mix it up, make it interesting. I believe in Kevin Holland. I think he has a lot of potential. And I think Stephen Thompson's trajectory just hasn't been as consistent as it used to be. And Kevin Holland just seems to have that contention in his head, that title contention, I think, as a goal. And I think he's working towards it. And I'm going to ride with him. So I'm going to go with Kevin Holland. And I think he's able to... I think he's going to be able to win at least 3 out of the 5, man. I'm going to go Kevin Holland by split decision.
Oh, split. Wow. All right, Mark. What do you got?
I like that. So Holland is the favorite here. I don't know if you guys expected that or not. He is minus
I
160.
did not.
I was very curious to see what the odds were.
Okay.
Minus 160. Wonderboy is plus 130.
It was pretty close.
Yeah, really close. Yet, I mean, this is an intriguing matchup in a lot of ways. This is a fun main event. I hope Kevin Holland's mind is right. I didn't love that whole retirement stunt after Chimaev. Now he's saying again that if Chimaev gets a title shot, he's going to retire because he thinks it's such bullshit that Chimaev could get a title shot right now. So I don't like all the retirement talk out of him, but hopefully it's just Kevin Holland nonsense and he's focused on the fight. So yeah, you have an elite striker in Wonderboy against a guy whose striking is very underrated, in my opinion, and who's also going to have a 3-inch height and 6-inch reach advantage in Kevin Holland. Then you have a guy in Holland who has, in Wonderboy, who has proven to be vulnerable on the ground, against a guy who may choose to mix in some grappling in Holland, where I also think he's underratedly effective. So as elite as Wonderboy is in what he does, I think Holland is God, I can't stop mixing up their names. I think Holland is underrated in kind of every area in how he could give problems to Wonderboy. So I could see it playing out in a couple ways. I could see Holland hurting Wonderboy just as easily as I could see Wonderboy kind of frustrating him and making him look a step behind. And that's exactly what he did in his last 2 wins to other top-shelf welterweights in Vicente Luque and Jeff Neal. Both of those guys were like super frustrated, step behind, literally like, why can't I get anything I do to work? Because Wonderboy is that freaking crafty and tough of a puzzle to crack on the feet. It took guys who would introduce the grappling in Burns and Bilal to give him his recent losses. But on that note, I think Kevin Holland's game is not as straightforward as those 2 guys in Jeff Neal and Vicente Luque. I think he presents more unpredictability, more ability to change things up, to come at weird angles, to mix in some random grappling, even if it's not to try to necessarily bring you down and hold you down, just to kind of change how the fight is looking. So I think he's a little more of a trickier puzzle for Wonderboy than maybe those guys necessarily were. And we do have 5 rounds of this, and I think 5 rounds is a long time to keep a guy as dynamic as Kevin Holland from hurting you. And remember, Holland was a middleweight, so you'd expect him to be the bigger, stronger guy. He's probably the more explosive guy, though Wonderboy is explosive himself, but he's getting a little bit older. And I think he's getting like 1 step slower, and I think that 1 small step may cost him here. Not to mention, no one finishes Kevin Holland on the feet. So he's going to get his time, I think, to work. And he's going to be talking to Wonderboy the whole fight. You wonder how that plays into what Wonderboy's doing. So there's a lot of interesting angles, but I am going to say Kevin Holland finds it. Maybe he's even losing before he finds it, but I'll say he does. I think either a club and sub or just a club and more club. I'll say round 3, and I guess for the need of an official prediction, I will go club and more club. TKO round 3.
And Omar, you took Wonderboy by split, or you took Holland by split?
I took Holland by split.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off what you said, Mark, of the talking in there, because Kevin Holland is a unique in-fight talker in that he's like, he talks, but he's still like, he's like nice. He's like constantly like just like chit-chatting like with his opponent. And I wonder how that's going to affect the also very nice Wonderboy Thompson.
The NMF.
It is weird because it's almost like Kevin Holland doesn't even really talk shit. He's just literally having a conversation with you.
He just talks.
And a part of me having
talks about your technique, about what you're trying to do.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that
part
was
of
nice.
me, I've rewatched the Jacare fight 3 or 4 times now, and a part of me genuinely thinks that's why Jacare lost. He got into a whole conversation with Kevin Holland while Kevin Holland is having a beat down in his face and just lost concentration.
Yep.
I think it's so crazy. I don't know. I think it's so weird, man. But I really do think that he's going to have a whole conversation with
that was such a
Stephen
nasty
Thompson
finish.
in there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's that the punching down thing was probably one of the most brutal things I've ever seen.
Wasn't he punching up from his back?
Up.
But once he got up and Jacare was kind of already dazed, Jacare was on his knees, kind of tilted back.
Yes.
And Holland just pile driving him downward. That shit was terrible. That was wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I need to make a pick. I agree with you guys. I'm going to be picking Kevin Holland here.
Wow. All on Holland.
Look, I love Wonderboy. He's like one of my all-time favorite guys, right? And but look, he's 39, taking on a guy who's 30.
Fuck.
In his, Holland is in his physical, athletic prime, fighting prime, who's 3 inches taller, has a significant reach advantage. I think Holland is going to be. Wonderboy, he is kind of fast, but he's, to your point, Mark. You said crafty. He is. He's quick because he's sneaky, and he's excellent with his karate. But overall, I think Holland's going to be the younger, more athletic, faster, stronger guy. And I think in between the chit-chatting, I think he's going to get inside of that kicking range of Wonderboy's. And I do think that Kevin Holland is going to stun Wonderboy and swarm, probably get on top. I think he's going to finish him with hammer fists. I'll say round number 4.
Wow.
TKO.
I'll tell you what, man. This is the one for Kevin Holland. Like, he has been a guy who has felt like he was on the verge of joining the elite of a division, used to be middleweight, now it's welterweight, for a while. And like, the trigger has not been pulled. And I fear that if it doesn't get pulled right now, we may not ever see it. Like, he needs to get this one.
Agreed. And this is the right matchup for him. It's not a guy in the Shimaev who's going to wrestle him into dust.
Yep.
It's a striker in Wonderboy. So Holland's going to get to stand up and try to do what he does. But I don't know who said it, which one of you said it, but I do think it will be important for Holland to make this an MMA fight and not just a kickboxing fight. Because that is the only path to victory for Wonderboy.
Totally agree.
So we'll see. Can't wait. Can't wait, man.
Wonderboy looks fucking stupid for 40 years old. I would have never guessed that dude is 40 years old. That's crazy.
He still looks like he's
it's crazy.
30.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It helps that he
Great
dresses like very young as well. I feel like
He
a lot of
does.
the time.
Yeah.